All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? I'm just here with my buddy Clay Fink, doppelganger, formerly known as somebody that people thought CFH was before I revealed my identity. But Clay went to the Shrine Bowl. I went to the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Kind of a crisscross week. They were happening some at the same time, some of it not. So there's a lot of review, kind of short summary videos about each, but we're just kind of on here to give our own take of it. So, Simmons era said Dart QB1. I'll get to this in a couple of minutes, but I think Dart is QB3, but we could keep it at that. Clay, how was your experience at the Shrine Bowl?
We'll keep it at that with Dart. It was a great experience. I kind of went as an FSU reporter, just wanting to experience it, get to know some guys. There weren't any FSU players there. There were 3 at the Senior Bowl, but those both that kind of is nothing compared to last year where there were like 3 at Senior, 5 at Shrine or something. So it's a little different, but I went to the Shrine Bowl, didn't really have anything I explicitly had to do. So I kind of just got to watch the practices, develop some takes on players. I'd come back to the hotel and be like, man, that guy, I don't know anything about this player that was so great today. Let me watch some of his film. And it was a great experience. And you have amazing media access. I didn't really have to ask questions to a lot of guys, but there were some guys that I just wanted to talk to, and you're just in a hotel lounge area, reporters are sitting around, the players, it's scheduled, but will be certain position groups, and then they're just sitting on the couch. You just walk up and grab them, and they're especially the lower level guys, they're really appreciative of everybody who comes and interviews them. But you get some great stuff, man. You get some legit conversations.
You bring up that, literally just chilling out on the couch. That literally happened to me.
Yeah.
I was literally just chilling out the last day. I had access to the hotel via my credential, and I was not staying in the player hotel. So I was like, you know what, I'll go check it out. It was Friday, it was the off day. I had time to kill. My flight was at 5 o'clock. There was no scheduled practice. So I'm just there and throughout the day. And then I see the players come up, and one of them just walks over to the couch to play EA CFB. And I see he's playing by himself. I'm like, I'm not going to let him play by himself.
Yeah.
So I walked over to the couch, and it was Princely and Monmielen. Just chilling out, and we just, bonded how, I grew up a Florida fan. Princely went to Florida. Yeah. I went to Ole Miss. Princely transferred to Ole Miss.
Right.
So we're just talking about Gainesville and Oxford and just all this and that. But Princely was such a nice guy. And then Jarquez Hunter was kind of sitting over there for a couple of minutes. Absolute bell cow for the Auburn Tigers. Yeah. So,
we've been talking about Jarquez
guys. They're all super forever. Chill. They're all completely human. And
it's a great experience. Oh, I was just going to say, we've been talking about Jarquez for what feels like forever. Since he stepped on campus, that guy's been a bell cow, and he came back for his senior year, and he was the bright spot on that Auburn team. So I saw some interviews, and he seems like a great guy.
There was a couple of Auburn guys at the Shrine Bowl. Was it Rivaldo Fairweather at the Shrine Bowl? Dude, is this tight end class is – you got somebody freaking tight end like Rivaldo. They're just not even talking about. No idea what happened to Clay's internet. Well, bravo, Clay. Let me shoot him a text and tell him his internet is shit in the bed.
No. Oh. Am I back?
You are back.
Okay. Yeah, Fairweather, I would say he was probably the number 2 tight end that I saw on the week. Number 2 or 3. He had a solid week. And the big thing with Fairweather, and this is the same with my number 1 option, is they're built like tight ends. With so many tight ends in these days, it's sub 250. And And that's really the only reason I'd have him at number 3 is a guy like Aronde Gadsden out of Syracuse who started his career as a wide receiver, moved to tight end, and for a few years, I mean, he was listed at like 215 still and listed as a tight end. And it's like, okay, there was, I think, some rumors that they might have like switched his position so that he could like break some Syracuse records. I don't know, man. He came in at 251 and he looked really, really good. I don't remember what Fairweather weighed in at, but it was over 250. And I would say maybe probably my undisputed tight end one of the week was Texas Tech / Arizona State / I forget the other schools, Jalen Conyers, who's been in the portal a few times now, and he's been productive at multiple different schools. He gives you some of the like wildcat QB stuff that you get from like Tyler Warren, some of the like positional versatility that you get from like Harold Fannin and Tyler Warren. And he's 6'3", 265. Like he's like built, man. Like he's a big dude. I think I've actually and another top performer at tight end, I don't want to spend a long time talking about tight ends, was Caden Prescorn. I saw a TikTok yesterday actually of Caden. I saw a TikTok yesterday from Caden's wife of like
Callie?
they were like the dog or like the pet store, and Jalen Conyers was with them and his girlfriend or significant other. So I think he and Caden might have, and they were, you know, I was talking about sitting on the couch the whole time, you know, when they weren't getting interviewed. Those two were looking at each other's phones, just like, I don't know what they were doing, playing games or something, but those two were always together. So it's cool to see that, you know, two draft prospects at the same position are sticking together. I think they both have NFL futures. You know, maybe Conyers a little earlier. I think he's quite like a year or two younger than Prescorn, but you know,
yeah,
I mean,
Prescorn
there
had that
was
weird. He had like a 6th year of high school or like a 5th year of high school. They went to
yeah,
like that Fork Union Military Academy. He
yep.
went there, and Juice Wells went there.
And then he came in still. Oh, that's interesting.
And then he went to Memphis as a walk-on quarterback.
As a walk-on, yeah. So that also sets you back and changed positions. So
redshirt and then transfer. So yeah,
you're taking a late round tight end. I don't really care too much about the age, but the tight end group is really deep in this class. I would say the deepest group, or the second deepest group, is defensive tackle, and that was on display.
You think it's that deep than running backs?
It's defensive tackle or running backs, and I think that's one of my hot takes for this class is like, I think the media overall is going to catch on, especially after the combine. You see all these big guys run. That obvious. I think everybody knows this running back class is crazy. That's been well documented, but I think the defensive tackle class is on that level, if not better. And I think arguably the two best players at the Shrine Bowl were both defensive tackles. And the best player there, in my opinion, was overall at any position, and it really was not close. You could tell from almost the first snap of his first practice. Maryland's redshirt sophomore defensive tackle Jordan Phillips. He's only 20 years old. He has 2.5 sacks in almost 30 or 2.5 tackles for loss, 0 sacks in almost 30 career games. But you watch the film, and there's a 20-year-old. I mean, there's just so much to like about this guy. And then I think a lot of people have referenced it, but you've seen the Bill Belichick video. He's talking about, you know, with defensive tackles, you look at how they're built in their lower half. Like this guy's like, he's built, man. Like he's what they look like. Lower half, upper half. He's like 6'1.5", and he has these long arms. He was the best player there. He dominated from start to finish, every drill. And then I would say arguably the second best player there was Indiana defensive tackle CJ West. He's a transfer from Kent State. He had like 4 or 5 years at Kent State, and he was productive. And he joins Indiana, who goes on the college football playoff run this year. Really strong run defender at nose. Both of these guys are kind of nose tackles, 6'2", 320-ish, with some pass rushing upside. And he's older than Jordan Phillips, but both really, really won the week. And if it's CJ West isn't the second best, it's Kobe Bryant, the Kansas corner. That guy, he'll win, he'll get in your face, He'll be physical, and he's going to talk, and he's going to let you know all about it. That man might be the biggest trash talker in this entire class. Kobe Bryant, I've never seen anything like it.
He's got a big name with some big shoes.
It's a big name. Big name. One of my favorite stats of the week, and I got to talk to his running mate, Mello Dotson. Mello Dotson and Kobe Bryant have been the starting corners, outside corners, for the 95+% of Kansas games for 4 consecutive years.
It's a lot.
How many players in college football history can say that? They've both been like first-team All-Americans by various outlets and have like 12+ career interceptions. Just crazy ball production. Melo's more of like a day 3 guy, but it's cool. And they both went to the Shrine together, and so Kobe's out there getting vocal every time a DB has a good rep. But when Melo would have a PBU, he was out there on the field. He's like staring down the receiver as if he was the one who got the PBU. It just never ends. There was a day he was sick and he couldn't practice, and he still came to the media, and the corners were just kind of, chatting, and he was talking to Eastern Kentucky safety, Mike Smith, I think is his name.
Oh, is that the one that tore his ACL at the beginning of the year?
I don't know.
There's a East. You said East Carolina, right?
Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, Eastern Kentucky. I was thinking about the Eastern Carolina CB. Sorry.
Yeah, and Kobe was like, well, I hit, like, you could overhear it. We overheard it. He was like, I hit harder than you. And he was like, man, you're 170 pounds. He was like, watch the tape. And they kind of stopped talking for a minute, and then I went to go to the bathroom, and I walked past, and I see Kobe's holding his phone in this guy's face, like showing him what I presume was film of him hitting offensive players. He's just competitive, like he's the prototypical corner mentality-wise. And yeah, he's 170 pounds, but like, he's a really good football player.
There was some good corners at the Senior Bowl. Trey Amos got hurt. He like twisted his ankle, but he's straight. I went over and talked to Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, absolute legend. And I asked Tom, I just saw you had a quick second. I said, hey, Tom, don't mean to bother you. Do you happen to know what the status is with Trey Amos? He said, yeah, I think he's fine. I was like, yeah, I would assume so. Blah, blah, blah. Didn't really grab his ankle. If it was bone was breaking, there's usually a person would grab towards their bone to try to hold it in place. And like, he didn't do any of that. So, Trey Amos is fine, but Trey Amos had a good week. Dan Jackson, safety out of Georgia, had a great week. He had some great reps against Mason Taylor. I was talking to Chandler in our live video we did the other day. So Jackson Dart threw like a post route, like Mason Taylor is on a post, and Dan Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, he comes over. Yeah.
And I was walking to the corner.
That's a play.
Completely not in the rep, just like being a spectator. But I was there. I was walking to the corner, and it was just a bucket pass by Dart, and it was being reeled in by Mason Taylor, and Dan Jackson had perfect coverage on it. So it was just like such a good rep for an incomplete pass. That's how good some of these exposure bowl events can get. Yeah, these NFL scouts. So
and one thing I heard, I had somebody who I got to meet at the Shrine Bowl say to me is the thing you have to remember, and obviously these are NFL draft prospects, so you kind of know it inherently, is like, and this was a guy I get to watch college football. I get to watch college football practices, and this was a guy who does the same for his college football program that he covers. And he was like, I know that you and I both also cover the draft, but it's important to remember, like, if you've seen a college football practice or even an NFL practice, like, there's more difference between the players usually. And at these events, it's just like the best player on every team in the country that has a player good enough to get to this event, and you have reps like that where it's like good on good on good, like good pass, good catch, but it's broken up by an amazing play by this Georgia safety who's not even the biggest name by far on their defense. Like these events, it's every rep, every rep is like that's why they're so important. When you get to the NFL, your physical advantages in college go away. Unless you're some absolute monster, Abdul Carter or something. But yeah, seeing players in this context, it's huge. You talk about Trey Amos. I like Amos. I think he should be seen some first round stuff, but I think maybe early
I think he
second
falls
round to
second
mid
round
second round.
personally.
He's
I
been
think
crazy productive in college.
the
Like I think
person I
he's
can't,
allowed like a 40% completion
yeah,
in his career. But
the person I can't get, like, I don't know, I'm kind of not with the hype is Barron out of Texas.
oh yeah, I agree. I think Barron's a mid second round guy. I think he's a
What's
really
his first
good
name? Like John
football
Day?
player. Jade.
Jade?
Yeah. I think he's a really good football player. I just think there's some limitations. He's old.
He didn't have a lot of PBUs this year. You only like one.
He was like, I can't lie, like he was the best defensive back in the country. Like that man was complete straps. Like I think yeah. I mean, I don't know. I could probably pull some of the stats, but like it's pretty ridiculous. He should have won, or did he win the Thorpe? Who won the Thorpe? It's always awful. That's the worst award. I don't know, but he should have won the Thorpe, and I don't think he did. But I don't know. I like
Oh,
Barron.
Travis Hunter
I
won
think
both.
some of the first round
Didn't
stuff is
Travis
kind
Hunter
of.
win the Thorpe and the Blitnikoff?
Do I think he should have?
No, I think he did.
No, because Travis was actually snubbed of the Thorpe, and it's like that's the one thing that like he's better at DB. Like why would he
I
not?
think he's better at wide receiver.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, I mean, he was more productive. Like, for these awards, it's stats and stuff. And so, like, especially last year, he was more productive at corner the year before. But last year, he had like 1,300 yards or some shit. So, but yeah, no, he wasn't even a Thorpe finalist. It was kind of wild. That award sucks. They snubbed Sauce Gardner for his teammate Kobe Bryant, and it was just because they didn't throw at Sauce and they threw it Kobe, but stupid award. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's talk running backs. Who do you think was the best running back at the Shrine Bowl?
I don't really know, to be honest. I was not paying attention to running backs. I'm going to keep it a buck because there's so little you can take away. I liked what I saw from Rocket Sanders in the team stuff in practice. But, they can't break tackles. So that actually, no, Rocket Sanders is worth talking about because that's kind of part of his game. It's a big part of his game. He's like 235 plus pounds. Is tackle breaking, and you're not tackling in these practices. So that's what makes it so hard to evaluate these running backs. I feel like there's some value to the one-on-one like passing plays for corners and even safeties, but for the linebackers and running backs, that's just not what a pass rep, really is looking like in a game, and it's just so tough for those linebackers. But I would say probably Rocket Sanders. I feel like he and Ja'Cory Koski-Merritt, who I can't, the full story is escaping me, but he went to Arizona this year.
Bro, I can't talk on it. I'm not allowed to.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't remember it all, but
Corey. I got into it. It's not even like that. I don't know. The whole thing is sticky. Long story short, he only played one game in Arizona. So, I'll let Clay reconnect here. But Corey Koski-Merritt played one game at Arizona, played at New Mexico. Then before that, he played at Alabama State, and there was something done to blah blah blah. Got to Arizona, was committed to Ole Miss in the portal. Well, okay, committed to Arizona in the portal, flipped to Ole Miss, then ended up going to Arizona. Pretty much end of story. Clay is back right at that.
I'm back.
Yeah. I just
But yeah, Ruckus Sanders.
literally just said end of story to the Corey Krosky Merritt situation.
Wow.
But yeah, let's go over to Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl running back. You want to talk about the biggest? The smallest running back at the Senior Bowl made the biggest impact. It was Trevor Etienne.
Yeah.
Which nobody had envisioned that happening. A lot of people were confused why he declared. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
People
He's
thought
super young.
Super young, super raw.
I'm trying to get a list of guys who will be still 20 years old when they're drafted. I not everybody's birthday is just going to pop up when you search it, but I've got 8 guys right now, and ETN is one of them. And for a running back, that's huge. So sky's the limit. I'm pretty high on ETN, I think.
ETN did well.
And he really hasn't had the opportunity to run routes at Florida or Georgia, and he was cooking. Like, you know, as I just said, I don't care a ton about those, but he was, even regardless of how the linebackers looked who were facing him, you could just see how he's, you know, making these moves, and it's like, oh, he probably should have ran some routes in college, you know.
Yeah.
But anybody else a running back for you?
No, I think Trevor Etienne stood out the most.
Yeah.
RJ Harvey.
True. RJ Harvey's kind of the same thing, a little bit with the pass catching stuff.
Carried your OC's team on his back.
All right.
Straight up carried UCF last year. All right, wide receivers.
Yeah.
What you go first?
I would say, well, I mean, the most exciting guy is Efton Chisholm out of Eastern Washington, which Eastern Washington basically has produced one extremely notable player in NFL, I want to say, history, and that's Cooper Kupp, another white wide receiver.
Oh, shit.
From Eastern Washington. So you get the comps. I can't lie. This guy was one of the, you know, he got added to the roster the day I was traveling down there. And it's like 3 guys who were all like SEC school rotational players got added. And then this Eastern Washington guy. And I was like, let me look this guy up. It's like 4,000 career receiving yards. He's like unbelievably productive.
Really?
I think he had 120 catches last year.
Wow.
1,500 yards. And honestly, this isn't the funniest part about him is like I looked at his Twitter profile that night. He had basically like posted hardly at all in the last like year. Every single post that had his name in it after the Shrine Bowl, he would retweet as soon as practice was over and reply and say, "Thank you for the coverage." Every person, every time, because he just wasn't used to it. But he was a winner, bro. Like, honestly, I think the testament to it is he started the week in number like 91 as a slot receiver. And by day 3, he was in number 27. So, you know, moving up. And he was probably the biggest winner. And guys like that, slot receivers like Twitchy, who just like, you know, 120 catches in a season speaks for itself. He gets open quickly. They're bound to win in these events. But, I mean, he was a huge winner. And I would say, probably set in stone that he should be a draftable guy. Yeah, those are the type of players who can really win in these events. But let's see who. Keandre Lambert-Smith was good, and Keandre Lambert-Smith, he's got like all sorts of tools. So he's got all sorts of tools. There's a lot of reasons to like Keandre Lambert-Smith.
I heard
he's got a ton of upside. But
was it Peyton Thorne down at the Shrine Bowl?
Yeah. I mean, who cares? I'll tell the story. So on the first day, I think I told you this. I think this is why you're asking.
No, I'm not.
Well, the first day, one of my first exposures to the entire event, the quarterbacks and pass catchers of all positions are just warming up on the East team, I think it was. I don't know, whatever team. And Peyton Thorne has Keandre Lambert-Smith and Rivaldo Fairweather on his team. Peyton Thorne throws a 5-yard speed out to Rivaldo Fairweather, and he has to like I don't even he's reaching below his hip, outside his front. Just an awful pass that probably traveled less than 15 yards in the air. And I was just like, oh, I want to see how he reacts to their teammates, you know? He goes over there and he yells. He yells at Peyton Thorne. He yells at his college quarterback. And it was probably one of my favorite moments of the entire week. It was just like, and Peyton Thorne had good moments, and, you know, he's not an NFL quarterback because he's not really an SEC quarterback even, but to put it lightly. But it was just kind of like, I think you saw a glimpse of how that poor tight end felt all year with him at quarterback.
And last
this
year,
isn't a very good quarterback draft class, and honestly, I think in this setting, and, you know, names are going to make this. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. This isn't a popular take, I think, because of the names, but I think the Shrine Bowl class of quarterbacks is better in that setting than the Senior Bowl quarterbacks. Ooh. And I honestly think they were. Like, Kyle McCord, Max Brosmer, I think they were significantly better than Milroe and Dart.
Oh, dude,
I know Dart's your guy.
I
know Dart's your guy, but I'm very anti-Dart with the recent Dart developments.
Dart didn't have the best week. Dart didn't have the worst week.
No, but he wasn't good. He was below average.
Tyler Sal, or however you want to call it.
Shook. I looked it up. Shook.
Tyler Shook out of
the only problem is I think he's 26 years old.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Out of Oregon. I think he had a season-ending injury, Texas Tech, and then Louisville.
Yeah. So
redshirt and a season-ending injury.
Yeah, he'll be 26 by the time the season starts. So
yeah,
but he's got an arm, man. That guy's got a cannon.
Hey, Michael Penix.
Hey, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen people who are like big in the industry say they think he's like a dark horse for QB3. And
Todd McShay's up and at him about it.
Yeah, I don't think there couldn't be a round 2 quarterback for him to be QB3. I think QB3 would have to go in the 3rd round. I just don't think a team is spending a 2nd round pick on a 26-year-old quarterback.
No, it's gonna be like last year. It's gonna be like
so. But yeah, I like Shook.
Just blew up my water bottle right in my face.
Not the biggest Dart guy. Yeah. Who do you think was the best?
Jalen Milroe had a terrible week. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think the week was so bad to the point where Jalen Milroe should seriously be considering playing running back.
There are teams that have 1st or 2nd round grades on Jalen Milroe as a running back.
Because his legs are 10 times more valuable than his arm.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good he is at quarterback. If he goes into the league playing quarterback, the moment he signs his contract, he is maybe the most athletic quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah,
he probably is. That guy is more athletic than Lamar, more athletic than Mike Vick, more athletic than Anthony Richardson, Cam Newton. He sucks at passing, and the hands were maybe even a bigger loss. I don't know if that was a known thing or not, but how are your hands that small, man? You're 6'1", 230, and you have historically small hands. Interesting. A lot of fumbles in your career, but who would you say was your biggest winner overall, any position at the Senior Bowl?
The UCLA edge. I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, yes. He's awesome.
Linebacker converted to edge. That guy was
he rules, man.
Kobe Bryant was he was
okay. Oluwafemi Oladejo.
That guy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is what I called him.
He's awesome. He's 21 and a half.
He's a linebacker converted to edge, and he's going to be a damn good edge.
He's athletic as hell.
Yeah. Willie Lampkin.
Oh
Willie
yeah.
Lampkin is
How can you not love
5'11".
Willie Lampkin?
Willie
5'10",
Lampkin is
5'10", count it
5'11",
right. 5'10".
and he had Dion Walker, who is 6'8", 345 pounds, held down like he was concrete. It was
There
incredible.
was a 9-inch difference in height and a 70-pound difference in weight between them, and he totally stonewalled Dion. I will say, as Dion is my guy,
But hey, what Bill
that's
Belichick
where
say?
he's built to get killed because he's got the worst pad level maybe I've ever seen, and I
Yeah.
love him. But he did say that was gonna be his biggest improvement this year, and it was worse. So I love him, but
Hey,
there's people projecting Dion to the 4th round, man.
what did Bill Belichick say? It's about how your lower half's built, right?
Yeah.
I would say Dion's lower half is very subpar.
Well, it's historic. I mean, honestly, like I'm not gonna act like I've looked at the lower half of every defensive lineman in NFL history, but dude, I'd be willing to bet. First of all, there's basically nobody with his like height weight in NFL history.
Oh, nowhere
And then when you factor in the fact that all of it is above his waist.
Oh, 100%.
There's nobody ever that has looked like it. He has skinnier ankles than me, dude. Like,
it's incredible.
And that's why he's been hitting spin moves since his freshman year when he was like 390 pounds and was a freshman All-American. But it's also why in year 3, and he's known all 3 years, that he needs to improve his play strength, his pad level, why it doesn't happen. I don't know, man. I heard some Trevor Sikkema of PFF. He's great, does great work. They were ranking interior defensive linemen, and he said this year he's breaking them up into nose, 3 techs, and then 3-4 defensive ends. So like guys playing right inside of the tackle. And a lot of people who don't know anything about Dion, just see the height weight, they're going to say, well, he's a nose. He's 6'7", 340 pounds. But if you watch him, I would think he's a 3 tech. Trevor Sikkema thinks he's a 3-4 defensive end, which is very interesting to me. At 6'7", 340 pounds. I mean, a 3-4 defensive end is like, I don't know, like 6'3", 270, 280 usually. But I think that's kind of a testament to like, dude, the run defense is like unplayable. And it sucks to say, I love this guy. This is probably my favorite college football player defensively ever, honestly. Like, I love Dion Walker at UK. I'm a UK fan, but yeah, man, it sucked. And he had a back injury that he played through all year, and it sounds like it was pretty severe, but yeah, he was worse this year than he was as a freshman playing at like 380 to 390 pounds. Like, what do you do with that? And he had the clip on day 1 of the Senior Bowl where he like blows the guy over and they had to start letting the players hold the pads.
Yeah.
They had to like move to the players holding the pads. That was super cool. But yeah, I mean, you see some of the wins, but you see the Willie Lampkin rep. Like, and I love Willie Lampkin, don't get me started, but yeah, he's got some weaknesses and he's a project for sure. Who's your favorite? Who else stood out? Any position, actually?
Syracuse linebacker. I forget his name.
I don't know him, actually.
Forget his name. Wisconsin linebacker, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Elijah Arroyo.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, everybody already, if you watch the video, like,
I'm
going into this video knowing most of y'all have at least heard how good the week Elijah Arroyo has had. And if you didn't, just go ahead and follow PFF and scroll back like 2 weeks. He'll be all over their feed.
Yeah. Gray Zabel on the O-line.
Gray Zabel, of course.
He might have been. Honestly.
Farmer had a great week. Your boy Farmer.
Farmer had a great week. Yeah.
Crop Dustin, the offensive lineman.
Yep. I'm not supposed to speak on it. He told me so.
Word.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it was a positive post that he reacted negatively with during
You're not
Senior
allowed to
Day
speak
week.
on Farmer.
Well, now I can't because I'm blocked, but
Oh,
yeah.
heard that.
Yeah, he had a great week though. And Farmer's like flying up draft boards, dude. Like flying. I
Oh, Brashard
mean,
Smith. My bad.
oh, Brashard Smith. That's a great one. Honestly, I will say I think people, and understandably so, expected Brashard Smith to like totally dominate because he's a running back. And like I was saying earlier, like the
He's a wide
biggest thing at
receiver.
these events is like pass catching as a running back. And he's a former receiver. And he's like an insane receiver as a running back now at SMU. And I don't think he was like, I don't think he was as good as ETN as a receiver, honestly, on the week from what I've seen. But I think people were just had such high expectations and they kind of brushed past him because he didn't have some insane like over a guy's head or breaking a guy's ankles, but Brashard Smith is once again another guy in this insane running back class.
Yeah, I think Brashard Smith is a ginormous Sunday guy. I think you could
Yeah.
just see the NFL with how advanced he is in the pass catching game. How you don't have to be the best blocker in the world in the NFL. Like you need to be pretty good, but Brashard Smith, he'll get there.
Especially for a former receiver at running back, like a lot of running backs, they have to be in the backfield. They can, like, if you're a third down back, you still got to run your routes out of the backfield. He can run routes anywhere, like it doesn't, like if you want to keep him out there on third down and maybe you do want to bring a running back out for pass protection, he can just play in the slot. He can play out wide. Like
you could
he's just such a good player, man.
And you could drag a linebacker out there with him, and he cooked the linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
he's career high in every receiving stat this year while playing running back for the first time in his career. That's a stat. And he was like a rotational receiver for Miami, but I didn't know that until just now. I looked it up, but that's crazy. SMU, I got to hear Rhett Lashley speak at a coaching clinic last weekend, and he had a very high. It was unconventional. He just watched film. We just watched film. Usually these guys have slides with like all these like slogans and abbreviations they have, and that's honestly like that is interesting and great stuff. Like Norvell was the next day, but he was all film, like all film. He was like, I know you guys are gonna get all these words. Like he was like, let's just watch some ball. So we watched the SMU offense against Louisville. First of all, it made me go watch Kevin Jennings after the clinic because I looked at it. I mean, it was Kevin Jennings' best game of the season. So, I saw all of the highlights, none of the lowlights, but he looked unstoppable in that game that we watched. And the way that Rhett talked about Brashard Smith, man, I don't want to put like paraphrasing, but something like the best offensive weapon of something like that he's ever coached. Like he just does everything, man. And they brought him in as a receiver. He kept talking about that. This guy played receiver, and it's his first year playing running back. So the sky's the limit for Brashard Smith. That guy, so good in so many different ways, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I have. You got any closing thoughts?
No, I mean, let me shout out real quick before we go. I feel like one of the big things about these bowl games is giving exposure to lower level division players. My favorite by far offensive lineman to watch at the Shrine Bowl was Middlebury, which is NCAA Division III center Thomas Perry. This guy, he was incredible. And I had a few videos, and others had videos go viral of him against Warren Brinson, the Georgia former 4-star defensive tackle. He stonewalled him, man. Like this guy every day would come in, just whoop somebody in front of him, and then after the rep, and this is you don't want to put too much stock into this. He was the guy, and honestly, I expected more guys to do this. who would sprint back to the line after every rep.
Oh,
even if he wasn't even if they were going to rotate him out, he would, they'd blow the whistle, boom, he's right back there. I had a video actually like go viral of Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco reacting to him, but he was awesome. And honestly, I'm mad at the NFL Combine because he was confident that he could break the center NFL Combine bench press record because he's got pretty short arms. He's really athletic, and he's insanely strong. He's benched 515 pounds. I think he said he's going to get like 41 reps, hopefully, on the bench press. Yeah, man. And he didn't get invited to the Combine. So
hey,
I guess I'll be tuning into the Middlebury Pro Day.
I'll be tuning into all those Pro Day. Dan Jackson did not get a Combine invite.
Will Shepard at Colorado, bro.
Really?
Yeah. He was one of the bigger ones. All right. Well, I'm good on that. No.
Yeah, I'm good at one. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you follow Clay over at his handle at Clay_Fink. Make sure you follow me at CFB Headlines and subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace out.
Peace.